What you're hearing now is the hysterical laughter of a young man shaken by a wild hallucination midway through an LSD trip.
Oh, I'm so happy right where I am right now. Right where I am, I'm so happy.
Millions of Americans will illegally consume lysergic acid diethylamide, commonly known as LSD, during the next 12 months. Such indiscriminate use of LSD, once solely intended for scientific research, has snowballed into a nationwide crisis. Teenagers prowl along the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, high on the drug. Some of them chew the bark off trees and growl like dogs. They alternately writhe on the floor, screaming, cower in a corner, or dreamily prop themselves against the walls. 10,000 thrill seekers attend a 3-day LSD festival in San Francisco, undulating to atonal music while experiencing way-out trances. LSD pushers openly sell the drug on dozens of college campuses. Adherents include corporation presidents, noted educators, a magazine publisher. But it's mostly unsupervised teenagers, the rebellious adolescents searching for identity, who embrace LSD and sound its praises.
It was the most beautiful thing in the whole world. And then the paintings on the walls were dripping. And just, you could see the paint coming down like this, just like if somebody was hosing it off at the top and all the paint was running down to the floor. But it was so pretty. They were running. Just like they were melting. It was groovy. But that's the only hallucination I got.
Often, however, they put it to frivolous use. A colorless, odorless, tasteless, inexpensive substance. It's considered by the majority of them to be nothing more than a shortcut to instant bliss, where actually it may be dangerously harmful. It's as easy to obtain as a hamburger at a local drive-in. In major cities like New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, a purchase can be made on a street corner, in a delicatessen or a coffee house. Night spots frequented by this clientele carry names like The Trip, Lysergica Go-Go, The Doors of Perception, and The Brave New World. Members of the acid scene are no longer underground. Their widely dilated pupils are inevitably shielded from the light by dark glasses, whether the users are dropping caps while seated in the back of a motorcycle or languishing in a movie theater watching The Last Year at Marienbad or Juliet of the Spirits, surrealistic films which have heightened meaning for those who are turned on. It's a disenchanted, restless, insecure generation, continually searching for new kicks. A 19-year-old expresses her feelings.
Well, I never think of when I'm 21 and 21. I think of tomorrow. Or this minute. And hope there's tomorrow. Because I don't like what's going on in the world. I'm scared of that. More than death. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just scared, Everybody is. Pretty uptight.
Everybody is pretty
LSD
uptight,
pusher
man.
who sells the chemical at $5 a cap tells why his business is burgeoning.
And these people have the attitude, you live once, so why not? Take it.
And apparently a widespread breakdown in parental discipline has removed the most basic restraints. A 14-year-old who's also experimented with heroin and benzodrine was asked whether her mother knew about her LSD habit.
Yeah. It was okay. I don't have to hide anything from my parents. They're not that way. When I don't have anything from my parents, they don't have anything from me. And we have a very good relationship. We don't love each other, but that's okay.
The lack of love in the turbulent climate of the 60s, combined with the sensational publicity caused by the drug and its easy availability, have triggered the rampant psychedelic craze. Dr. Sidney Cohen, Chief of Psychiatry at the Wadsworth Veterans Administration Hospital in Los Angeles, and author of an LSD survey called The Beyond Within, describes the evolution of the drug from its less frenetic beginnings.
Since that day, 23 years ago, when Dr. Albert Hoffman accidentally inhaled enough lysergic acid diethylamide to cause him to take to his bed, LSD has passed through 3 distinct phases. The first was a period of scientific investigation, when a variety of mental aberrations were examined. At that time, the LSD state was called a mottled psychosis, a schizophrenia in miniature. Later, some of the scientists observed that many of the reactions were not madness at all, and they proceeded to explore the possibility that the drug might be effective in the treatment of certain mental disorders, that it might help us understand the creative process, the nature of perception, and other human mental activities. Today, scientific research with LSD is declining. 5 years ago, the second period began, the idyllic, psychedelic, evangelic era. This was a movement spawned at Harvard by Drs. Leary and Albert, later to infiltrate many a campus and offbeat group. The psychedelic persuaders made the most attractive assertions that the experience would free us from life's games so that we could enter into non-game ecstasy, that our mental abilities would multiply 100-fold, that our consciousness would be expanded out to the ultimate. Now the third phase is upon us. In the past 2 years, the acid head has taken over. Most of the takers are out for fun, an LSD high. The doses erupt, the music gets louder, the lights swirl faster, and the chap who freaks out just hasn't passed the acid test. A surprising number of these youngsters don't even know who Timothy Leary is. Or if they do, they think he's the guy who started the party.
Psychologist Timothy Leary, a smooth-talking 45-year-old, is regarded as the leading American LSD missionary, as well as the movement's most controversial figure. His early LSD experiments, where he used Harvard University undergraduates, resulted in his expulsion from the school's faculty. Recently, he was facing a jail sentence as lengthy as 30 years for transporting marijuana. Leary has appealed the verdict. While out on bail, his seductive talks on the virtues of LSD draw huge college audiences.
The LSD trip is a pilgrimage far out beyond your normal mind into that risky and revelatory territory which has been explored for thousands of years by mystics and visionary philosophers. In the last year, we are told that perhaps 1 million Americans, most of them young people, have made the LSD experience part of their lives. Is this a social menace and a cause for alarm? I don't think so. I see nothing less than the speedy evolution of a new indigenous religion. The LSD religionist knows that the temple of worship is the human body, that the shrine must be located not in a public place, but in the privacy of your own home, and that the congregation cannot extend beyond your family and your closest friends. In 15 years, the high school and college students who are experimenting with LSD will be running many of our institutions and guiding public policy. Remember, the college students who are using LSD and marijuana today do not comprise a criminal class. They are not drug addicts seeking to escape. They are your best educated, your most creative, and your most courageous young people. And like it or not, they're going to build you a new civilization.
Leary's detractors argue that his rhapsodic, high-minded thoughts exert a strong appeal on individuals likely to be injured by the drug. There's no doubt that many of the young, ignorant of the high potency and danger of LSD, have been swept up in the aura surrounding the drug. Some of them wear buttons on their lapels and place bumper stickers on their cars reading, "Support your local travel agent," meaning the source of supply who provides the trip-taking chemical. Since the only legitimate source of LSD in the United States is restricted to approved researchers, the user finds himself obliged to deal on a black market which has reached enormous proportions. Planes smuggle huge batches into this country from Canada, Mexico, England, Czechoslovakia. But actually, anyone with a working knowledge of organic chemistry can readily synthesize LSD. As a result, the LSD available in the current seller's market is manufactured largely by amateurs. Often it's of dubious quality. At Capsule Corner, a crossroads for acid heads in Los Angeles, customers can purchase LSD in a variety of forms, impregnated in sugar cubes, chewing gum, blotting paper, mixed with baking soda in a capsule, absorbed in a matchstick, or preserved on the back of a postage stamp. The price is up to $5 for the standard dosage, 200 micrograms. The nonpareil in the field is a San Francisco chemist who distributes free samples at massive LSD parties and allegedly has become a millionaire through illegal sales. He's spoken of with reverence by one of his Los Angeles pushers, who's also a user.
Ashley really knows how to make acid. Right. So the only impurities were taken out of it. Ashley really has dynamite, righteous acid.
The continuing danger in buying on the black market is that the consumer never can be certain exactly what dosage he's getting. The average dosage is virtually invisible. 300 micrograms could be put on the point of a pin. There's the added possibility that an impure dosage could cause substantial organic damage. One teenager who had just illegally purchased some LSD and consumed it while standing on a sidewalk voiced her fears.
And it scares me not knowing exactly what my proper dosage is. And I have to take it behind the law because there's no other way.
Another girl reported the size of her dosage.
The first time it was half a cap. Just the trees and the sky and even the grocery store is beautiful. I could sit there for hours.
A teenager noted how much LSD she consumed on her last trip.
Oh yeah, I took half a cap of a 500 milligram cap.
She described how she knew it was a 500 cap.
Well, you know what a 500 cap looks like. You know what I mean? It's small.
Queried about her largest dose, a young girl responded,
Well, it was 15 drops of a concentrate of 400 micrograms a drop. And I know it wasn't good because it immediately hit my spine and was in sheer agony. It was tapping my spinal fluid.
The girl's answer underlines the abject ignorance of many users. LSD cannot possibly tap the spinal fluid. Captain Alfred W. Tremblay, commander of the Narcotic Division of the Los Angeles Police Department, explains the confusion surrounding the LSD numbers game.
A year ago, a person could buy LSD and know that he's using 50 micrograms today, or a year from now, there'll be no such guarantee from a pharmaceutical company. It will be a bootleg version similar to heroin. An addict shoots heroin, might be shooting 2% heroin, he might be shooting 25% heroin. Okay. When you buy it from a illegitimate source, there's no guarantee on the quality. We had a backyard chemist under investigation at this time, and he was producing sufficient amount of LSD to make 1 million capsules in a 3-month period. Our information is the same individual has now enlarged his activities, and I would estimate that this individual is producing for consumption in Southern California in excess of 1 million capsules a month.
Student health centers and psychiatric wards rapidly filling with acid heads who cracked up following bad trips or an inability to assimilate the LSD experience are already a fact. 1 out of every 6 admissions at the UCLA Neuropsychiatric Institute is attributed to LSD. Dr. Thomas Ungerleider, resident psychiatrist at that facility, reports their symptoms upon arrival.
They may be severely depressed with suicidal tendencies or have made very serious suicide attempts. They may be confused, wandering about, not knowing where they are. They may be hallucinating, that is, hearing voices or seeing things. Or they may be extremely anxious to the point of panicking.
Reports of such unfortunate trips do little to deter most users, especially those attending high schools and colleges. They go right on experimenting with LSD, waiting for psychedelic lightning to strike. More often they're swayed by extraordinary experiences related to them by their friends. Here's one such recollection, told by a young insurance company employee.
I was really not. I mean, I came out of the shower jumping around telling everybody how groovy it was to take a shower. And it was like, well, it was like being under a thunderstorm with great big drops of rain, because you could really feel the water coming, and you could just, it almost felt, this is weird, it almost felt like you could feel your poor like sopping up the water, and your whole body was just like a great big sponge, you know, and it just, it was like a massage. It was so groovy. You can't believe how groovy it was. It wasn't just water hitting you, taking a shower, soap, and out you go, you know, towel off. It was just, oh wow, you know, it was like a caress, you know, kind of, and you could really feel the hot and the cold. You could feel hot and cold, you know, and each little drop that came out was a different one, you know. It wasn't, I don't think the water must mix inside. It must come out hot and cold or something, because you could feel hot, cold all over you. It was really groovy. It was, I guess the word for it is it was sensual, you know, it just, your body just, oh, it grooved, you know. It was really neat.
A member of an instrumental group which records psychedelic music reveals her rapturous LSD trips.
God, I'm always tripping though, and always freaking out. And sometimes I freak out with other things. Freaking out everywhere, just freak away. I remember one time I was in a swimming pool, something like that. I just spent 3 hours in the pool, you know. Complete silence, if I remember. And I became part of the water, and part of the air, part of all the color in the air, part of space, and it was me and I was it, and you know. I don't melted them together. That's why I stayed there so long. I didn't realize time. I remember dancing after that, dancing quite a bit. After that, lying down, and all the sounds that I heard completely faded away. Everything got so distant. Because it got so distant, and I went right into my own head. Closed my eyes. Started seeing all, you know, everything that was in my head at the time. 10,000 teddy bears, millions of teacups, you know, things like that, written happy birthday.
The same girl reveals what these insights have meant to her.
God, well, I've had to look at myself in all kinds of ways. It's when you open those doors down there into where the rats are running around, you shine light on them, you know. you bring it all out. You see where it's at, and you keep feeling more light. More light like Mr. Dracula when he goes in the sunshine. God, the evil brought out, you can look at it, the good and everything. LSD helps me to remember, grass helps me to forget. I don't know.